My name is Anthony Darway, and I was born in Liberia, 1982. And as a young kid, the war started in my country, and my dad, by that time we were in a district, like in Liberia we call it a county, which is called Lofa. I got sick at the early stage of the war, and we couldn't do much. So for about a year, I was just lying in a home. Like what I said was like they were expecting for me to just pass out because there was no medication, there was nothing any of the family could do. So just lie down there for about a year. We were praying for miracle, but that miracle never came until 1991. I actually went to Sierra Leone in January 1991, and I started my my medical treatment. Took me to a town we call Mobile. Spent about 2 months there, and my condition started to deteriorate. We couldn't do much, and then we got another suggestion to a town called Shebwema, because Shebwema has a very large hospital. You know, there's a very large hospital in Shebwema. By March the same year, you know, like my dad, he and myself, we were in Sierra Leone until March. He told me he was going back to Liberia to get some money to pay my hospital bills. But then when he went back around March 27, if I'm not forgetting, the war entered Sierra Leone and the border was closed, 1991. And ever since then, I've not been able to live with my family. And you know, sometimes people believe in the interpretation of dreams. My stepmom, my mom, and my dad, those three people, they had some terrible dream. And all these dreams, they have certain kind of connection to the same reason. So, and then when I went to Sierra Leone, that was when actually the reality of the dream started to unfold. My dad had a dream that he and I were, because we were farmers, we were going on our farm, and there was a darkness that fell between us and separated us. He was crying with my name while I was crying, you know, asking, you know, looking for him in the dark. And then he got a voice that the darkness is too thick. You will not be able to see your son. And then after a while, my mom had a dream. We were in our farm, you know, like in a farmhouse. Then there was this flooding. The village, like the farm hut, it flooded away. So people were fighting, holding onto pole, you know, for them to stop themselves from being carried away. But the pole that I was holding onto, it got broken, and I was swept away. So she was there crying with my name, my son is gone, heavy floor, she couldn't do much. And that's how I disappeared. After a while, my stepmom had a dream. We were walking on a bridge, and I fell from that bridge deep down in the valley, like a water, and then boom, I was gone. So if you're wise enough and you follow those three dreams, the dream never actually says I die, but I disappear. For some reason, I disappear. And in our tradition, falling from a bridge is a bad omen. It brings bad omen. When I went to Sierra Leone, after about 14 years, waiting for my parents, nobody was there. I was separated from my family. I couldn't see nobody. Nobody couldn't see me, you know. So I believe the dream come true. But there was one thing that I asked my stepmom, you know, I asked, don't you see me swimming? Then she told me, I never said you died. It's just that we couldn't find you. And if I'm looking back at myself like over 25 years, you know, from that day, I'm still fighting to swim. I'm still swimming, you know. I'm still trying to find my way in our society. The Sierra Leonean Army in 1991, during their recruitment, they give you $100 flat. You take that money, you spend it if you want for a few weeks, then you wear your uniform, you go to the front to go and fight. It was a contract. Kids, young boys, they take this contract because they lure them into the system that they will be the backup, you know, like they back for reinforcement. Like when the the real military guys, they are gone, they will be training them up for them to reach. But instead, the moment you get that money, they send you to the front. So you will be the front runner instead of you being the backup. And what some of these boys were doing in Sheboma, they will run. If you go to the mortuary, you see young boys that were not even twice my age at that day, they'll be crying to die, groaning with pain after they have been disfigured at the war front because they were fighting for their motherland. Some of them will say, don't cry for me when I die, because I'm dying for my country. Why the elite of the society, those people who owns their war, their kids are in one of these European countries attending the best university, we the common people, you know, like we the common man will be killed, slaughtered right over there. And the stupidity of the laymen is what makes some of these warlords for them to be powerful. Without the stupidity of the laymen, even Julius Caesar won't be called great. I joined the military for a while. I was there for a while. I lived with the Sierra Leonean army. I used to fix the magazine for their guns, you know. But I have a friend there. The guy name was Morris. That was around 1994, 95 now, you know, that I was no longer in the hospital. The rebels would come, they attack, blah, blah, blah. Morris really wanted me to become part of the group. I spent about 3 months with them, but I keep telling him, Morris, I want to go to school. I want to go to school. That was my aim. I want to go to school. Then he said, do you think you're going to be the president of this country? You know, in Africa, everybody that go to school, in Sierra Leone, for example, anybody that go to school, the last earning is to become the president of the country. If you go in any of our classes, you know, you ask, what do you want to be in your future? About 50 or 60% of everybody, the boys, they want to be president. We know of no other way to have a better life except to be the president. So, do you want to be the president of next of the? You be? I said no, that's not my idea. But war is not for me. I said I just want to go to school. I said I'm praying when the war is over, let me go back and go to school. Then he looked at me for a while. I was one like you, with dreams for me to get the highest education ever that I wanted. He said, but look at me now. In my own country, I'm hunting my own brother to kill them. If I don't kill them and they see me first, they're going to kill me. Then he removed his shirt. He said, come and see. Behind his back, on his shoulder, he has the big sky lying down. Then I asked, Morris, what is that? It's my legacy from the RUF camp. I was once POW. The RUF captured me. And they used machetes, cutlass. They wanted to remove my shoulder. Luckily for him, he dropped over there like he fainted. Actually, after the heat, he fainted. So they left him lying there to bleed to his own death, and they went for lunch or like dinner. And then he regained his strength, he escaped. That's how it happened. He who has half a good taste of this world. And then, even though I was in the world, but like I was a peacemaker, I asked Maury to leave the military. I said, Maury, let's look for a way so that we leave the military. He said, there is nowhere I could go. For you, you can go, I'm going to pave the way for you to leave. Because like within those days, the Red Cross and all these crosses, they were looking for kids to take them away from the war front, from the military camp. But Maurice, he helped me out. He was my military guy. We were doing what we gotta do. He helped me out for me to leave the camp. The war ends, but we have not realized the root of the war, the root cause of the war. Nobody has been able to to discover that. Nobody has been willing, the politicians, they are not willing to talk about this. Because if they talk about it, they're going to implicate the superiors. And this superior, they don't want to be implicated. So they believe that we should bury everything and just leave it like that. And for me, it's not. If I hit my toes and fell down, they say when you hit your toes and fell down, don't look where you drop. Come back. What brought us into the war? Those are some of the questions we need to start to answer before we can have a solution. Everything that I believe that are responsible for the war, they are still in the society. We still have them. They are still there. They are still accumulating. As we all know, stories always bring about story, and this is how I'm concluding my story.